Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another SQL tutorial. Today we are going to talk about subqueries. Now, subqueries are the inner queries, or you can say it in-nested queries. They are basically a query within a query. A subquery used to return the data that will be used in the main query as condition to specify the data that we want to retrieve. You can use subqueries in almost everywhere. Yes, you can use subqueries in select statements, in from, in where statements, as well as you can use it in insert, update, and delete statement as well. But in today's tutorial, we are only going to be looking at the select, the form, and the where statements. And you should get a pretty good idea about how to use subqueries. All right, now I am going to paste on screen basically what we are going to be walking through today. So let's start with subquery and select statement. So first, let's take a look at the table which we are going to use. Uh, so let me write the select statement start from, and the table is going to be employee salary table. So let me run the query. Yeah. So we got the employee salary table details, and the table contains employee ID, job title column, and salary details. So really quick, I'm gonna show you how to use subquery and select statement. So I'm gonna select, then let me copy this table as we are going to use this table. Then we want EMP ID, which is employee ID. Then I'm gonna salary. Okay, now we'll start our subquery. So to start a subquery, we have to start with open parenthesis. Then we'll go for select and again copy the same table and paste it here, as we are using the same table for the subquery closed with a parenthesis. But what we are going to do is we're gonna write average, that is AVG, and then we'll go for salary column. So what this query is going to do is it is literally going to calculate average salary of every employee. So if I'll run the query, so let me run the query. Now you can see 50,500 is the average salary for every employee present in the employee salary table. So when we run the whole query, then we'll get employee ID, salary details, and with that we'll get average salary for every employee. So if you can see, there is no column name for the average salary. So let me provide the name, an alias name as, let's say, average salary. Okay. So now when I run the whole query with subquery, then I'll get the employee ID, salary, and the average salary with alias name, that is average salary. So this is the way how you can use subquery in select statement. Now I'm gonna show you how to use subquery in form statement. So let me provide the header first. Subquery from. Okay. So I actually don't prefer to use this method, subquery in form statement. Instead of that, I prefer to use temp table method because temp table is more efficient than subquery, and we can use temp table over and over. But in subquery, we have to write the subquery each and every time. Okay. So really quickly, I'm gonna show you how it's done. Although I don't recommend to use this method. So let's say select everything, that is star, and then from. So now we'll start. with open parenthesis, and we're gonna write our subquery within this parenthesis. Let's quickly start writing subquery. So I'm gonna select, sorry, so I'm gonna select, then employee ID, then I want salary details, and last one is average salary. So now I'll provide alias name to average salary using partition by method. So those who don't know about partition by method, don't worry. We'll be uploading a class about partition by method as well as temp table method. So please do subscribe and hit the bell icon to get update regarding our tutorials. So yeah, let's start with partition by method. So over classes, then as I'll provide alias name is average salary. Okay. So now I'll provide table from employee salary closed with close parenthesis. Okay. So now when I'll run this query, so it basically create a temp table like structure and calculate the average salary and store it in the temp table. So now when we'll run the whole query, we'll run the main select statement. So it will fetch the details from this temp table and show us. Fetch the desired details. You can provide the desired column names, and it will fetch those details and show it to us. So first let's run the whole query with star. Okay. So now if I want some desired output, like I want employee ID, so let's first provide the alias name to the subquery a, that is a. Now if I'll say I want a dot employee ID details, and another one is average salary. So when I'll run the whole query now, then the main select statement is collecting the employee ID details and average salary details from this temp table data created by the subquery, and then it is showing us in the output. So that is how subquery works in form statement. So now let's go down to the subquery in the where statement. So first let me give a heading, that is subquery in where. Yep. So then just let me really quickly copy this query, as I don't want to rework on this. So let's steal the query and paste it here, and just get rid of this average salary. Let me add, we want job title. Okay. Now let's run this query. Okay. So now we have our table which we are using, but for this example, we only return the employees whose age are over the age of 40. Okay. So if we want, we can use join, but here we will use subquery and collect those details. So let's write down where clause, that is where employee, sorry, where empid in. So here I'll start with parenthesis, and we have to create our subquery within this parenthesis. Okay. Before creating subquery, as I mentioned, we want employees those are over age of 40. So if you can see this table, there is no age column. So For age column, we are using another table called employee. So let me quickly show you that table here. So select star from employee. So if I'll run this table, yeah, then you will get the data of that is employee ID, name and age. So here the employee ID is a foreign key which we are going to use for subquery. Okay, let's quickly start writing subquery. So I'm gonna select employee ID from our new table, that is employee, and now we have to provide the condition that age should be greater than 40, closed braces. So in the subquery here, the only thing that should be returned is the employee ID. And in fact, in subquery, we can only have one column selected. So here, I can select everything like subquery and select statement, and we just have to specify one column here. So let's just quickly run the whole query. Yep. So here we got the employee ID, salary, and job title of those employees who have age over 40 years old. Okay. So here if you want any more column like age or any other column, then you have to use join. But in some cases, you have subquery would be the good option, and it will be easy to fetch details from multiple tables. So this is the video about the use of subquery in different statements. I hope this tutorial has been helpful to you. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, please be sure to like and subscribe below, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.